if you want to skip the Titans and talk about the Falcons at 8, really quick, we could circle back to the Titans.
Mm-hmm.
Is it the same scenario? Or are they a team that their best case scenario is they get a Kirk Cousins locked up in free agency, then they can just pick
Yeah.
the best player at 8? Can we cheat and kind of look forward to that?
Yeah, I thought about that before we had started the show. That's the one team that I think maybe makes the most sense here to bring that into the conversation. And I know this is a common like Justin Fields landing spot when we try to project where Fields is going to go next, but I don't know if, even though I don't hate the fit, I don't hate the idea of Fields in Atlanta. I don't think I would sit here and say like, yeah, this is best case scenario for Atlanta to go get Justin Fields. And there's still a massive risk even going to get him. Even if there's promise, it's not anything that's super solidified. So yeah, I do kind of feel as though if they can sign a Kirk Cousins now, we just had the conversation. If you're not elite, what are you? But for the Falcons specifically, they're not in range to go get a quarterback and not in a situation where they can go get a quarterback. I think their best case scenario is still getting one of these top 3 young guys to me, because you want to invest in them. You want to have a rookie contract. You want to have all that. But then the next best case scenario is probably signing a Kirk Cousins. Now, obviously, the timeline doesn't work exactly like that. You don't know that you're going to strike out for one of these top 3 picks probably by the time that you have to sign Kirk. But if it's not drafting one of the top 3 guys, it's probably signing Kirk, drafting a pass rusher at 8, and then probably a wide receiver with the second-round pick. And depending on what happens with Calvin Ridley and the Jags, maybe you have 2 second-round picks, right? Because that's, I think, a stipulation that's in that trade that happened, what was it, a year ago, 2 years ago? So you have some flexibility there. And if you go get Kirk Cousins, you might then have 3 top 50 picks or 3 top 60 picks, which could really, really help your team. You can get some defensive guys. You can go get a wide receiver at the top of the second round. Maybe even draft a Malik Neighbors here and you go get an edge rusher at the top of the second round. So there's a lot of flexibility that you can have there. To me, I think the situation's less dire than it is for the Giants, who I think basically are in you just have to go up and try your best to go get a quarterback in this draft, or else, yeah, like you said, you're in danger of just being completely in no man's land, and maybe that regime not being the Giants regime much longer. So the conversation for Atlanta is a little bit different. I still think the best case scenario is one of those younger quarterbacks, but there are other scenarios where you could go, we can live with this. We can win with this, if you will. So that's kind of the way that I see Atlanta.
It's interesting because I think the Brady Mahomes, just their presence has changed the conversation so much. There was a stretch, excuse me, where there were upper mid-tier quarterbacks winning Super Bowls and everything. But
doesn't
all of a
happen
sudden,
anymore. Not a thing.
Well, just recently it hasn't been happening, right?
right. It just we were having that conversation in Vegas. Like how crazy is it that we went from you basically having to fear Brady and Belichick for 20 years, like doing things to try to outdo them for 20 straight years. And then now we just go straight into the Mahomes era. And it's like, there was no in between of like, all right, we got a little parody going on, like, oh, Joe Burrow wins one. Oh, Josh Allen wins one. Oh, Lamar wins one. Like, we didn't even have that. We went straight from Brady to Mahomes, and like, here we are.
I predicted a few years ago that would be the case, that you would have a more wide open NFL. I did not know that Mahomes would in the Chiefs. I mean, it's the Chiefs organization too. Like the whole thing has come together. But Mahomes being the most important part of that, of course, I had predicted that it would be more wide open. So it's interesting, like if you are the Falcons, it's probably not attractive to say, like, we have to get Kirk Cousins, right? Like, Cousins is also the guy that other teams are trying to get away from because you have to get better, right? So we're having both sides of these conversations.
Mm-hmm.
But Cousins has played good ball the last couple of years. And look, not every move is going to directly put you in position to win a championship. All I'm saying is if Kirk Cousins is in Atlanta and then they can add one more receiver, like with the receivers that are going to be available there, have a receiver to go with Drake London, to go with Kyle Pitts, to go with Bijan Robinson. The second way to win when you don't have Mahomes or Brady is to get a good enough quarterback and load up on playmakers the way San Francisco has and have a great play caller. We'll see what Zach Robinson can do, our friend Zach. But that, to me, that's that scenario that Atlanta's trying to build. So they had a really good underrated defense last year. And if they could load up on playmakers, have a good distributor like a Kirk Cousins play there, they have a shot. And if Mahomes didn't exist, that'd be a more attractive option, right? It's like, you never know if Kirk Cousins could go on a run. You never know who's going to go on a run any given year. Jordan Love's going to go on a run. Whoever it is, it would be more attractive. But, again, the alternatives aren't great because, I'm with you. If I could get a younger quarterback, that's the one. That's the play. I just don't know if Atlanta's going to be able to get up that high to do it. So either way, some sort of quarterback situation here for Atlanta. I'm just intrigued with Cousins plus receiver, in loading up on playmakers down there.
Yeah, Cousins plus Odunze or Neighbors is very appealing. I think that would immediately make them, with all of the staff losses that Tampa has had, and depending on what happens in free agency, I think that Cousins and Malik Neighbors pretty much makes the Falcons favorites to win that division, given what's kind of happened with the Bucs already with their coaching staff. So
that's the other weird part about this. There is value in just winning the division. Bucs fans feel pretty good about this season, right? You won a division, you won a playoff game, you finished in the final 8. It's not a championship, but we've also lived in this world where 31 fan bases are upset every single year and want to overhaul everything. It's okay to just, win a division, have a good season as a starting point.